Welcome to the Foundery, where leaders are forged daily. Each week we investigate themes of leadership, entrepreneurship, and mindset with some of the greatest minds in real estate. And now, the data scientist of real estate, George Roberts.
Welcome back, Foundery family. I want to thank you for your viewership and listenership. You have helped this podcast become what it is today. Without you, there is no podcast. This is the second of two highlight episodes consisting of the best moments of the first 127 episodes. We will resume our regularly scheduled programming on Monday. Enjoy. Catch you on the flip side.
I think if the world de-dollarizes, the global economy will boom. Because right now you're sitting in a system that misallocates resources. We're pouring money into non-profitable businesses, Dogecoin, FTX, Tesla, right? So if the dollar falls, certainly there's going to be the biggest transfer of wealth in history, right? Because the only reason all these companies trade at where they are is because the dollar is the global reserve currency of the world. And what that provides is it provides tremendous amounts of financing. If we lose that financing system, I could ask anyone, how much would you be willing to pay for a company that loses $44 billion a year? And almost everyone would laugh. Of course, I wouldn't pay anything. Why does Amazon trade at $1.2 trillion? Because they lost $44 billion last year. And I could ask 100 people also, would you rather a company that earns 40 billion or loses 44 billion? And people think that's a joke. They're like, well, of course I want the one that earns.
To create our experience at 3 steps. And the first step is our all-powerful thought. And that thought, according to scientists, creates energy, and that which is our emotions. And that emotions then, that energy creates matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, and this is why thoughts become things. And so when we realize that if you just look at what's happening right now and get upset over whatever, pandemic, deal goes south, an argument, whatever it is, that it's really old news, because it's previous thoughts that we have that have created our experience right now. So for us to be able to think more about the solutions and what will be and what we desire in the future. So instead of, and I'm famous for one of these quotes is, I don't face reality, I create reality. And all of us have the power to be
partner with people faster. I am a, type A-ish, in a good way, type person where, as you can imagine, my health background, all of the things I needed to do, no one else could do for me, right? I had to be the one doing the treatments. I had to be the one exercising. I had to show up at the doctor's appointments. And so, really kind of understanding, at least my view of the world back then was, if something needed to be done, I was going to get it done. But, one of the gifts of being in real estate was realizing how much better I could get to my goals and help and serve others by partnering with other like-minded people with complementary skill sets. So doing that sooner is most certainly something I would advise my younger self.
Reputation is huge, and building relationships with the brokers, who are the ones who control over 90% of the inventory. That's the real name of the game. There's a lot of other components to multifamily, right? I mean, there's management, there's renovations, there's knowing the markets and what rents can go to, how to finance them. Those are all skills that you can learn, right? And that's what most of these coaching organizations and people who raise others in this business teach them, is all those things. The reality is the secret sauce, the real talent in this business is finding assets, because you could be terrible at all that stuff. You could have no money in your pocket virtually, but if you're good at finding assets, if you're good at attracting deals to come to you, you can always find the money. You can always find the partners, the investors. You can learn the management side. I've always felt like it's how many times at bat you have at a deal that really separates the big boys from the children.
Right? If we go off the dollar system, all of a sudden the commodities will go up. Like, I think I've shown a chart in the past that commodities are at 120-year low versus financial assets. When you understand that the biggest commodity in the world is labor, you understand that all the money right now is just flowing to the top 1% of all the money. If we returned to capitalism and created a more level playing field, money would get spread out more equally. The economy would boom. We'd be allocating capital. At the end of money game, what we have is we have factories returning. We have the end is a positive ending, not a negative ending. I think everyone's expecting a negative ending because the currency falls. What you're going to see is a return to manufacturing. The average person makes a lot more money. Labor rates go up. The distribution.
The reason why we wrote this book to begin with. And one of my business coaches was doing a book challenge of how you could write a book in 3 weeks. And if you write from that passion that we were talking about earlier and your true experiences, that we all have an author in us. And it's really important to get your thoughts and your ideas out in a book. So I asked, well, no one's busier than me. Why don't you, if I'm a full-time entrepreneur, a mother of 4, let me write this book. I'm going to do it in 3 weeks, but you have to give me 3 months to write this book. And he's like, okay, challenge on. And I'll document my whole process. So it turns out I did get it complete just in a little over a month. And so it certainly is not like an in-depth educational, of what to do. It actually is a total tell-all from the heart of Vaughn and my experiences as real estate investors from the very, very start, and a what not to do. And each chapter ends with hindsight is 2020. And it really summarizes what we could have done differently and what the reader should do. And our goal with the book, it is a real book. It's sold on Amazon. It's hundreds and hundreds of pages. It's not like a pamphlet or anything. But the actual goal of the book, we said, if it helps one person avoid the mistakes that we made while we were investing in real estate, then it's done its job.
A clean and safe home and a place where someone is proud of where they live. They tend to pay their bills on time. They tend to take really good care of the building, and they tend to communicate when, life throws a curveball at them. And, all of which is wonderful. We're humans, and we're supporting humans. Right. And so you got to deal with them on that level.
I feel like what we're trying to do with Money Game is change global market thinking. We're trying to show that the market, that by the Fed intervening in bond markets, they broke the ecosystem of capitalism. But we did it in a way that everyone will understand. Money Game is kind of like Good Will Hunting meets Wolf of Wall Street. It's a drama, rated R. It's what we're trying to do is attract a very large audience to explain to them in very common, simple language to show how the ecosystem of capitalism is now broken. Now the entire system is misallocating resources, which then slows the real economy, which is the elephant in the room in Money Game. It's never mentioned, but it's our lead character.
My main focus is active investing side, but in order to be in active side, you need to have right mindset and also right kind of tools, right? So the podcast helps you interact with a lot of experienced operators in this space, active side and also passive investing side, understanding their experiences, this based on challenging experiences, what kind of systems they are following, what kind of processes they are following, how they are building A-class teams. So those kind of stuff you can learn by interviewing or inviting a lot of experienced operators. So definitely it will help me to network with a lot of people in this space. It will also help me building that credibility and learning from experience.
And I've always loved to make a difference in other people's lives, right? With the new development that we do and or just building in general, you're bringing jobs into the community. And so a lot of the developments that we're doing right now, we're bringing jobs into the communities. We're building different phases in other communities that are here in Atlanta, and we do projects outside of Atlanta as well. We have one in Tennessee, we have one in Arkansas, we have 6 other states that we're working in right now with projects that we're working in. We're about to do another one in Ghana. That's a whole different realm. But with that piece that I said, I like making a difference in other people's lives. I like making an impact. And so, that was another reason why I got into real estate was I was like, okay, I can bring jobs into the community. I can help people, bring income into their pocket. I could make a difference in a community and, make it sustainable and make a difference and make an impact as well.